morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and as always told, How to Voice Radio. So today, we are looking at all of the supporters from Burning Shadows. Now, we've all looked at these individually when they were revealed for the first time. I'll put links to all those videos in the description. But the set is coming out at the end of this week. People are asking me for updated impressions, and you know what? That sounds just fine to me. Now, as far as I'm concerned, we have 3 supporters in this set, which are just utterly ridiculously great. We'll finish on those. We're going to start off with the other supporters, which could be kind of fun. So starting off, we have got WICKE. Each player counts the cards in their hand, shuffles them into their deck, and draws that many cards. Both players refresh their hand. So if you've got a 1-card hand, you get a new 1-card hand. If you've got a 6-card hand, you get a new 6-card hand. Although do remember that if you've got a 6-card hand and play WICKE, you've then got a 5-card hand, you shuffle them in and draw 5 new cards. I just don't think WICKE is going to see a huge amount of play, and the reason here is very simple. You're not gaining cards. So if you've got 6 prizes remaining and you play an N with a hand of 2, you're gaining 4 cards. If you play a Professor Sycamore, you're always gaining 7 cards. Whereas all you're ever doing with WICKE is swapping out some cards you've got for others. Now, the one thing I need to mention here is with Tapu Lele in the format, you can always play one of any supporter, and then you can just search it out using Tapu Lele's Wonder Tag. Maybe you can use WICKE after using Drampa's Big Wheel GX to get a new 10-card hand, but that really is scraping the barrel. I just don't think it's a particularly good supporter, and I don't think it's going to see an awful lot of play. Similarly, we've got Sophocles coming out. Sophocles allows you to discard 2 cards from your hand and then draw 4 cards. The problem is, it does 2 things, but I don't think it does either of them well enough. Discarding 2 cards from your hand, we've still got Ultra Ball. Ultra Ball allows you to discard 2 cards from your hand, search for a Tapu Lele, and grab any supporter that you like. You've got Professor Sycamore that allows you to discard cards from your hand, although to be fair, Sycamore forces you to discard all the cards. So there is an argument here that at times that's too aggressive. You end up discarding too much of what you want. Sophocles doesn't even draw you as many cards as you need. How gets you 3 cards? How is that good? It's not. 4 cards is not all that much better. You can be playing an Octillery and sometimes end up drawing 4 or 5 cards. You're just not drawing enough with Sophocles. Now, there is an argument you could be playing this in a Darkrai deck. Darkrai's got the new ability where if it's in a discard, you can put it on your bench and attach a darkness energy from your discard to it. But then most of the time with Darkrai, you can afford to just Sycamore, because it's not like you've got any evolutions you don't want to get rid of. It's not like you're playing any special energy that you don't want to lose. So Darkrai's probably going to be better with Sycamore anyway. If you really want to discard cards, and you can afford to just draw a few, Sophocles is good, and I have no doubt that at some point a deck is going to come out that uses Sophocles greatly. I just don't think right now is that time. Plumeria is another card that I just don't think we're going to be seeing a huge amount of. Discard 2 cards from your hand, and discard 1 energy from one of your opponent's Pokemon. Now, we've already got Enhanced Hammer, which allows you to just get rid of any special energy on your opponent's side of the field. We've got Crushing Hammer that does the same as Plumeria, except it's flip a coin rather than discard 2 cards from your hand. We've got Team Flare Grunt, but that only discards an energy attached to the active Pokemon. There is a use for Plumeria. I mean, we've got some decks at the moment that do work on disruption and decking out your opponent. Sylveon GX and Wobbuffet come to mind. In a deck like that, maybe Plumeria could be good, but you've still got Team Flare Grunt, you've still got Crushing Hammer. There is an argument that against decks like Wobbuffet, one of the things you can do is build energy up on a benched Pokemon where they can't hit you unless with Crushing Hammer, then bring it into the active and sweep for victory, but you've still got Crushing Hammer, you've still got Puzzle of Time for more Crushing Hammer, you've still got Team Flare Grunt when they come into the active. I just don't know if Plumeria does enough. Now, if the card read, discard 1 energy from one of your opponent's Pokemon, it would be amazing. but having to discard 2 cards from your hand, you're giving up resources. And generally, decks that want to discard cards, like something like Vespiquen or Darkrai, are really aggressive decks. And you don't really want to disrupt in aggressive decks, whereas the decks that want to disrupt want to keep all of their disruption cards to slow you down. I just don't really see where Plumeria fits. It is a good card in terms of discarding energy, but you've got to give up 2 other cards in your hand, and I don't know how many of them want to do that. Olivia could be a good card. Search your deck for up to 2 Pokemon GX, reveal them and put them into your hand, but I just worry it doesn't do enough. Something like Hooper that searched for 3 EXs would search for Shaman to draw cards. Olivia here, searching for 2 GXs is great, don't get me wrong, but it removes your ability to then draw cards, play a GUZMA, etc. And I just feel like you're not grabbing enough off of this. Some turns maybe Olivia could be absolutely perfect, but although you're searching for Pokemon GXs, you're not able to play something like a GUZMA, you're not able to search out that energy. I fear it doesn't do enough. And you can still do the searching with something like an Ultra Ball, or indeed you can just grab it using Beacon from Alolan Ninetales. I just don't think Olivia does enough to warrant being your one supporter for the turn. And finally, for the supporters that I'm not truly enamoured with, LANA. Heal 50 damage from each of your Pokemon that has any water energy attached to them. Now, the healing here is good. I am in no way, shape or form arguing that this is not decent healing. But we've got cards like Max Potion. We've got Manaphy coming out, which allows you to just get some damage off your Pokemon with water energy attached. It's just, again, I don't dislike this supporter card. I don't think healing 50 damage from each of your Pokemon with water energy attached to them is terrible. Certainly this could see some play in Expanded with Wailord. My problem very simply is that in Expanded you've got Rough Seas, so you don't need Lana, except for maybe a deck like Wailord that really wants to aggressively heal. Although even then you're going to have to attach water energy because Wailord generally doesn't play energy. I just think you're not doing enough. We've got a whole bunch of cards like Max Potion that can heal without being your only supporter for the turn. I'm just not enamoured with Lana. And healing 50, it's something like a Alolan Ninetales. Is it really going to make the difference? I'm not convinced that it will. All of those are underwhelming but could have niche uses. But there are 3 supporters in this set which are flat out unadulteratedly great. And when I do my top 10 list of Burning Shadows cards at the end of the week, spoiler alert, they are all making it in there. First of all, KIAWE. Search your deck for 4 fire energy and attach them to one of your Pokemon to end your turn. Now, ending your turn sucks, but this is an early game supporter. You use Tapu Lele to search out KIAWE, do this on turn 1. If you go first, you can't attack anyway, you might as well use this. Now, I did a video just yesterday explaining how Turtonator is going to be great with KIAWE. I'll pop a link in the description, please go check that one out. But even stuff like the recently revealed Regigigas could be really, really good with this. At first glance, we look at Regigigas and go, oh, he does 160 damage. And he discards a stadium. Oh, it's for 5 energy. It seems massively overpriced. But with KIAWE, you get the energy on him turn 1. Turn 2, you attach an energy. Or indeed, you could just attach an energy and then KIAWE and get 5 on turn 1. And then with a choice band, you're hitting for 190. On the second turn of the game. How much pressure is on your opponent when you go first, they have 1 turn, and then you're hitting for 190 until they can KO Regigigas? I honestly believe there are going to be many, many games where people just get 5 energy on a Regigigas using KIAWE and just sweep for the game. Yes, he's got an ability that you've got to have the other 3 Regis in play to use it, but you can play Alolan Muck, or you can just play the other 3 Regis. We don't know how good they're going to be. Point is very simple. KIAWE opens up ridiculous plays and is going to be great. Speaking of going to be great, ACEROLA. Pick up one of your damaged Pokemon and all cards attached to it. That means that something like Tapu Lele can be picked up and reused. You can pick up one of your Pokemon and heal it. If you are paralyzed, you can pick your active Pokemon up, put something else up in its place. This is just too gosh darned good, and there's very little I can say about it other than it just opens up so many plays. Healing, reusing abilities, getting rid of special conditions. It's like AZ, but you don't have to discard the cards attached to it. It is going to see a huge amount of play. I expect it to be in every deck. But weirdly, even KIAWE and ACEROLA, as great as they are not the best supporters in Burning Shadows. That goes to GUZMA. And oh my goodness, is GUZMA good. Now, first of all, Lysander's being rotated out. GUZMA does the same thing as Lysander, so that alone should tell you how great it is. But it's also a switch. Now, sometimes this could be slightly annoying, but as long as you've got a free retreater on your bench, it's fine. And it also means that if you're really looking for a GUZMA for the game, you can put up a random Pokemon, and then if you hit GUZMA, you also switch into your attacker. If you don't hit GUZMA, you don't have to leave your attacker stranded in the active. There's been so many games lost because you put your Pokemon active, don't draw the Lysander and get KO'd. Well, with GUZMA, you don't have to do that because you can switch into it while you drag them active. GUZMA is absolutely phenomenal. It's going to see 2 or 3 copies in every single deck. For the last couple of years, we've been looking for Lysander for game. Well, now we're going to be looking for GUZMA for game. GUZMA, KIAWE and ACEROLA are all borderline broken supporters, which are amazing. I'm not saying the others are terrible, I'm just saying that I don't think they do enough to warrant being your only supporter for the turn, especially when we've got cards like ACEROLA, KIAWE and GUZMA that are so much better. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is all the supporters from Burning Shadows. Tell me which one's your favourite down in the comments. Go nuts, be nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. We are doing a live stream at 8 PM UK time tonight, Tuesday, and 7 PM UK time on Thursday. Come join in with the live fun. And if you want to support the channel, get some bonus pods, etc., check out patreon.com/PTCGRadio. By far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.